Hi, my name is Armor Sherman. My student number is 100996742. This is my GitHub repository. This is my GitHub link. This is the link that I will be using to clone my code and run it on my PC. This is my GitHub history if interested. I used the same repository as assignment 1. I just committed on top of it. Alright, so let's go here. So first thing we need to do is clone this code to this PC with the link that with my GitHub link. And now we go to open projects from file system, and we just basically select the file. Okay, found it, finish, and we should have it now. Alright, so let's open the test folder that I have, and let's click on all 4 features that I have, and let's also click on the 4 files where I implement these feature files and add the code for it. So I will briefly explain how my feature files work. So basically each of my feature files will run. So I have 3 player feature files and 1 server file. So what I did for this assignment is I implemented a test mode for all of my players, for player 1, 2, and 3, and I also implemented the test mode for the server. And what the feature mode, features do basically, they just run the class, the actual client, player, or server class in test mode. And what this does is basically just rigs the dice provided for each player for each turn, and it just basically automates the whole game, and they automatically input whatever, and it just finishes the whole, and they ended up finishing a whole game with 3 players in a matter of 1 second. So it's pretty cool. So I will just go to my RTF file real quick and just explain something real quick. So here I have noted that client1.feature is dedicated for showcasing tests for scoring a 0 value. Client3.feature is dedicated for showing tests for scoring a non-zero value, and client2 feature feature is dedicated for showcasing the rerolling tests. Alright, and as you can see here in my RTF file, I just put a bunch of equivalence partitions, all the things that I believe should be tested or whatnot. I put invalid and valid sections for everything. Everything is in the table for all the things I believe should be tested, and you find like a brief explanation on the valid and invalid here. And here you will find just me telling you where you could find these tests. And for a more detailed explanation on where you could find these tests, you could go to the Excel sheet, and you will basically find the test where test location, and I give you also the row where this test exists in the feature file. So yeah, I just wanted to explain this real quick. So for me to run my tests, I will have to run all of my files, all of my feature files, for it to connect like a game and run on test mode. So I run my server first, then I run my client 1, then my client 2, and then finally my client 3, and then it just ends the game instantly, just like that, and it's full, it's done. So if I go up here, you could see a full game being played, you know, input being inputted, you know, scores being scored, etc. And here you can see 15 scenarios, 15 passed, 31 steps, 31 passed. I do this for client 3, same thing. For server, same thing. For client 1, same thing. I'm gonna go through them again. Client 1, 15 passed, 15 passed for client 2, 15 passed for 3, 31 steps passed, 15 steps here, 50 and 7 scenarios passed. Everything passes, as you can see. So let me just go through client 1 real quick. Client 1, as I said, is responsible over scoring. I believe it was zeros for everything. Yes, it was zeros for everything. I wanted to test scoring zeros with everything. So if I go to my last round, as you can see here, everything is gets scored as 0 except for chance, because chance is impossible to score as 0 in chance. The minimum we could score in chance is 5 with 5 fives. But everything else, as you can see, is a 0 on the last round. For client 2, I'll go back to client 2 after because it's for rerolling. For client 3, he's meant to score everything. Rob, and he wins the game too, right here. So Rob, client 3, wins everything. He scores everything. As you can see, he scores the right things. You could scroll up and see. Let me just make this bigger. And you can see him just scoring everything. And for client 1 and 3, I did not do any rerolls with. I made sure to focus client 2 on rerolling, and that's it, just to avoid any confusion for the grading. If you want to look for rerolls, you just look at client 2, and yeah, you find all the rerolling functionality there. Also for Rob, I decided to make him score a Yahtzee bonus. Rob is player 3, I say that again. And for Tom, which is player 2, I made him score a normal Yahtzee. And that's how I tested all this. And yeah, like for my tests, I also used like if I go to here, like I use JUnit for all my tests, just to further confirm everything. And also just to clarify, like for this, this scenario is just basically here for this is what basically links the client or the player to the server, and this server outline is just for the scoring functionalities, just me testing the scoring. And same thing basically applies for player 1, 2, and 3. Server here, you find this is just basically what well, honestly, it's all just about linking, and this just tests basically sees the players that have joined, tests for the players that have joined, sees who's in, who's not, and this is for the players that have ended their game. It just tests whether they ended their game at the right time, and etc. and all that. Alright. Okay, so for player 2, I will showcase the re-rolling functionality. Excuse me. Alright, so if I go to my Excel sheet, and basically, okay, so here's, I said, do you have a test case for scoring with no re-rolls? I put client 3, but you can also find client 1 to be sufficient, but I just put client 3 just to avoid confusion. I don't want to give too many options. And I just said row 18 to 31, basically all of them, all of the scoring categories, testing for them work, so that this is where I don't basically score with any rerolls. And you can see that you can basically see that if I go to client 3, for example, me scoring a a chance, as you can see, I don't reroll, I just score, type 3 to score this round, and I just score. So yeah, let's go back to client 2. Okay, so here, let's start with this. Do you have a test case for scoring with one reroll of less than 5 dice? And I say row 18 in client 2.feature. If I go to client 2.feature, right here, we see that row 18 is for the ones. So for the ones, I tested that in round 1 in the very beginning. So as you can see here, I end up choosing 1 here, type 1 to select dice to hold and reroll the rest, and I select 1 and I decide to hold 3 and 4. I take 3 and 4 and I reroll the rest and get 3 new input, as you can see here, and then I just score it in ones. And then after that, in row 19, I test for do you have a test case for scoring with one reroll of 5 dice? And yes, I do this. Actually, right here for scoring for 2s, I just basically type 2 to reroll all the dice, and I type 2 and I reroll everything, and I get new output here, and I just score this round, and I decide to score 2s. I don't have any 2s here, I get a 0. Okay. Here, do you have a test case for scoring after 2 rerolls? And here I this is joint with this. Basically, I have 5 tests for that. Row 23, row 25, 26, 27, and 28 all test for this. And I just put different combinations for this, and it's 5 combinations as I stated here. And so let's go to row 23. What is row 23? 6s, and I chose 5. Just wanted to make sure I don't have a lot of tests, but I have enough tests, so I chose 5, and I just made different variations in the amount of dice that I take, and the dice that I do take also per round, just to make sure everything was correct and everything was cool, and indeed everything was correct. So I believe we said 6s, 23, yeah. So on the 6th round, so on the 6th round, as we can see here, please enter in the dice position that you want to hold. I decide to hold. I hold 2, 3, 4, and then for the second time, I decide to hold again. I have 1 try left, and I choose 2, 3, 4, 5. You know, it's a different thing. And then for the next one, for round 7, I skipped it. I do the same thing. I choose to hold twice, and I hold with different numbers. This time I take 1, and I take 1, 2 for the. No wait, sorry. Yeah, I do take 1 for the first time, and then I take 1, 2. You know, and etc. That's just how it goes. I do this for another 3 times, and with the last time, I actually choose to re-roll everything for my 2 re-rolls. And let me just show you guys this quickly. Here I take these values for the second reroll and hold. I take these values and reroll the rest. Here I decide to yeah, this is the example that I'm talking about actually. Here, as you can see, I decide to reroll everything, reroll all the dice. Then I reroll the dice, all of them again. Then here I do this for the last time, and it's just like the same thing. I take 4 and 5 for the first time, then I take 5 at the last time, and I reroll the rest. And that's just basically how it is. I believe that makes 5. Yeah. And yeah, let me just make sure here. Oh yeah, so let's talk about the server now. For the server, I'm sorry. For the server, as I have mentioned before, the server should show everything when it comes to switching from player to player. So waiting for player 1 to connect with the server, establish connection. Once everything's connected, the game starts. Notifying player 1 to start. Received output from player 1, notifying player 2 to start. The received output from 2, then notifying player 3 to start. Received output from 3, the round complete. Then it goes back to player 1 to start, and etc. You get the point. You know, after we're done with each one, the round finishes, and we go to the next one. And yeah, that's basically it until we're done until we reach basically the last round. And yeah, 7 scenarios, 7 passed, 15 steps, everything is cool. And so this is for satisfying for this actually. Yeah, jump to this. And you already know that, yeah, I have a test case for tackling 3-player game, and this for this and this they're like pretty much the same thing for my case, since I have it working for 3 players. So if I just go server cucumber, no, right here. So here I just test for, as I stated before, that's what I was going to talk about, and I just use the tests here, make sure everybody reaches the final round, see if they ended the game, and What's the other one? Oh yeah, I talked about this. And for this, I just basically check once I get them connected, I just test that I have their name registered within my server. If I do, then they are in the game. And yeah, that's just basically all it is. I believe that's it. Yep. Okay, thank you so much. If you need anything, if you are confused a little bit, please email me, and I am very happy to respond back and help you guys configure throughout my assignment and whatnot.